Big defender of Oklahoma, Joel Klatt, has two things that actually concerns him about the Sooners after that loss against Kansas State. We're going to talk about that, so stick around here in about 10 seconds. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jay here with Unfair Sports, talking OU football, college football, and sports in general. And in this video, we're going to talk about the two things that concerns Fox Sports' Joel Klatt about the Oklahoma Sooners after the Kansas State loss. Now, before we jump into the comments. Let me know what you think about this game coming up against TCU. We'll do a preview show later this week, but I want to know your thoughts. TCU's coming up. Are you worried? Are you not worried? Give me a yes or no. Also, tell me, is it fair or unfair with Joe when it comes to Joel Klatt's thoughts on his two concerns? So let's dive right into that, Sherry. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe button while you are here. So the first thing, Joel Klatt has two things that he was talking about on his show earlier this week that concerns him about the Sooners. And I'm going to kind of commentate on them, but to be honest, I think they're a little fair, and I'll explain why after each one. So first, let's jump into the first thing that Joel Klatt is concerned about when it comes to the Sooners.
Listen, you're never as good as you are, and you're never as bad as you are. That was a team that read their press clippings coming out of the Nebraska game, and then they got housed by Kansas State. But what are the areas of concern that we should have if we are Oklahoma fans moving forward? There are a couple, and here they are. When that happens to you, and it's clear that you're struggling with something very specific, which was the interior run game and quarterback run game from Kansas State, that's a blueprint. And now it's on film. And now everybody within your conference is going to be testing that area to see if you fixed it. Every good coach in the Big 12 is now in the first quarter of their matchup against OU going to try some of those exact same things that Kansas State was using to see if Oklahoma fixed it.
Now, Joel is right. That is one concern that I've had about the Sooners, and honestly, that's been a concern about a Brent Venables defense forever. I mentioned this in my reaction videos in the past, and I've kind of talked about this, but Brent Venables takes concepts from Nick Saban, and he has concepts from Iowa State's 3-3-5. Shout out to my boy Ty Hayes for pointing that out to me. And when I started digging into it and looking into it, what is the one thing that Nick Saban has always struggled with his defense? That's right, a competent mobile quarterback. And that's something that Oklahoma's going to have to overcome. The way Nick Saban overcame it is by getting linebackers and linemen that can keep up with those mobile quarterbacks. So the only way to get past that is to go hit them early. So with these games coming up, there's a few games where they're going to run into some mobile quarterbacks, but I think they will fix that. They'll be better prepared. The players will be in the right spots for a change, and they will actually have better instincts for these circumstances. So I understand Joe Klatt's concern on that. I agree with him. They need to show us that those have been fixed. So that's the first concern. Interior defense against a quarterback that is mobile. That's going to be critical. Brent Venables' team, Ted Roof, Ty Bates will have to fix that. That's the first thing. Now, the second thing that Joel Klatt is concerned with right here. But before we jump into it, hit the like, subscribe button. Join us on this journey. We'll see a lot of content on college football as well as Oklahoma football. We're going to be talking about them nonstop as we go on the road to the Big 12 championship. But this is the second thing that Joel Klatt is concerned about.
That's a blueprint. And then the second part of why I'm a little bit concerned for Oklahoma, that schedule all of a sudden looks brutal. You look at the Big 12 right now, and there's maybe not an easy game out there. All right, I don't think TCU is going to be an easy game for Oklahoma. Obviously, Red River is not going to be an easy game. We saw what Texas was capable of. Texas Tech at home is a tough one. Iowa State at home, that's a tough one. By the way, meaning like on the road. So you got to go to Texas Tech. You got to go to Iowa State. You still got to play Kansas. That used to be an absolute joke and a week off. Now it's the team that's tied with Ohio State with the most touchdowns in college football. I mean, like, you tell me where the break is in that schedule. I don't think that there is one.
That's the second concern, is the upcoming schedule. And if you watch the rest of the clip, I'll make sure to post that here on the video so you can go finish watching the rest of Joel's statement in regards to the Big 12 and how much he's kind of praising how tough the Big 12 is this year, he's right. There's a lot of tough games coming up for Oklahoma. TCU will not be a punk. Sonny Dykes puts together some solid teams. They kind of perform. Not all the time, but they do sometimes. Go look at his SMU years. Go look at him at Cal. I mean, heck, he helped Jared Goff become a #1 draft pick. He can do some special things. So that there's concerns here with how good the Big 12 actually is. They've got competent coaching. That's the one thing the Big 12 has today. Because if you've noticed in a lot of the jobs that are open, there's a lot of Big 12 coaches' names being mentioned. So we talk about Iowa State. They used to be a joke. Matt Campbell's the young coach that everybody's saying that teams should go after. So they're going to be prepared. You've got Kansas. They may be 6-0 when they come to Norman. Kansas, 6-0? We haven't seen that since the Mangino days. Exactly. And they have a mobile quarterback as well. So that's going to be some of the pieces that Oklahoma has to be prepared for. Brent Venables and staff needs to be ready for. That defense is going to have to shore up, which I have faith they will. But I want to talk to you all about what Joel Klatt and some of the national talking heads are basically saying about Oklahoma. They just need to see consistency on the defensive side, especially against a mobile quarterback. Go back to the days of Clemson with Brent Venables. Mobile quarterbacks is kind of a problem, especially when Alabama started getting them. All you've got to do is make sure that you contain and you tackle. And I think those are two things that Oklahoma will get better at as the season goes on. So this wasn't a beat down on Oklahoma. I don't want y'all to feel like that I'm attacking them, but I want you all to understand what people are thinking and saying. You may have seen this already, but I also want to give you some context behind it. I do feel like Oklahoma's those got to prepare for a grueling schedule of teams that know them, as well as stopping mobile quarterbacks in which the Big 12 has a ton of them. Air raid is still a thing around here, so we got to be prepared. But I think Oklahoma will be. I think we'll be fine. All we got to do is execute, and it'll happen. So thanks for checking us out. Glad that you stayed all the way through. Please hit the like and subscribe button and share because sharing is caring, as well as drop a comment. Do you think it was fair or unfair, the assessment that Joel Klatt gave about Oklahoma going forward? I'm going to tell you, I felt like it was fair. I don't think he was unfair in any capacity because he's right. Those things we're going to work on, and I promise you this staff will be focused on it. With that, we'll have a super announcement tomorrow. Cross fingers and toes. We'll top it up in a few days. Peace.